Hi, I'm Thack. Welcome to Thack Ironworks. Today we are making the Man in the Iron Mask from the late 80s, 1989, let's say, Leonardo DiCaprio movie. And there is a picture, and maybe my editor will get a cool screenshot that can give you better quality look at what we're doing here. Anyway, I've got a customer that wants a replica of this mask. So I've already made the frame part here, and we're not going to show that on the video, but I just want to give you a little walkthrough of what that's all about here. So essentially this needs a little work. Let me hinge the other side here. I still need to do some fine tuning on this. That side hinges open. So this will lock around the head, get in position there and lock to this side, and then the sheet metal pieces will capture my entire head here. So that is what we're going for. These pieces were made out of 3/16 thick material, which I forged heavily and I textured them. So I've got a couple of the leftover bars here, just pieces like that, which I forged to get a lot of texture in them. I've got my special hammer here, which puts pits into the steel. It's just got some MIG weld on the surface there. So anyway, that is the prep work for this, but our video today is going to be concentrating on making the face, so more of a repoussé style work. I have some of the sheet metal bits that I've already started on, and they will be fitting into the various places like that. That has been roughed into position, so that will be fitted in there a little bit better. And I'm going to be making these two pieces, bear with me here. These two pieces will be inside here. They'll be welded together and then welded to the face. The face will actually be one solid sheet, a separate piece, but I'm making it out of 3 pieces just to speed up the process because I am on a budget on this one. Back piece, this will fit in there, and then once I have all these sheet metal pieces fitted, they will be run through the forge textured as well to have the same sort of finish. So we will end up with an effect something like that, which I think is going to be pretty cool. This thing is really rough, and I really took quite a bit of extra effort to make it this beat up and rough looking. It's actually easier to make it look newer than this. So it's kind of interesting that I have to spend so much extra time to make it look like it's been around forever and completely been abused. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So we're gonna get started with the face. Before I do that, so this is how I actually started to build the frame here. So yesterday when I started making this thing, I basically spent an hour with some cardboard and made some strips and just started playing with that, taping it together, moving around the tape until I was able to create this piece here that fit onto my head, which oddly enough was pretty much exact identical measurements to my client's head, which is always very handy and why I'm always very grateful that I'm a pretty average size guy and tend to fit universally most people. So here you can see the cardboard frame where I just worked out all the different angles and proportions, and then from there I was able to extrapolate and make it in metal. So there is our steel frame. So I'm gonna get started with templating the face. Okay, so here we go. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I like speed templating. Do it fast, get it done. 13 inches. Always good to establish a center line. 8, let's do 9 inches. Over a little bit. 9, a little beyond that. So once I start shaping this piece of steel, it's going to bulge into this. So this is not giving us a very true representation, but it does give me some rough parameters of how close I am to the shape. I've got my outside, I've got inside measurements here that it needs to be bigger than that. So I'm just going to go beyond that whole thing, and my top piece is coming down. It's going to be arching down like that. Okay, that should be sufficient steel and also give us lots of room for trimming there. So I'm going to get my piece of steel, transfer that, cut it out, and we will begin. Okay, I am going to be raising the chin here. The chin will be the highest point on this particular face. Usually it's the nose, but the nose on this one is going to be a cutout and a separate piece. So by default then the chin is our highest piece, which raising will be a better process than dishing. I will be able to get more depth, and doing it hot is actually fairly relaxing and fun to do, I find. Anyway, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm doing the raising on the chin here, and this edge kind of shows you the tricky part of doing this. I'm trying to achieve a difference in shape, pushing that chin out, but the piece back here, the perimeter has to go down, and that's actually fairly tricky to get that to drop into place without wrinkling. Those wrinkles actually help you in a way in that those little troughs, when you hammer them down, will actually thicken up the metal around the perimeter, but you have to be pushing from the inside out and not just simply bending it down in order to get that shape. So it is by far the trickiest part of this sheet metal work for this project here, is trying to get a sudden change in plane like I'm trying to do right here. So I've reached the point now where I just chopped out the facial features roughly, and I did them undersized so that I can then grind that to shape as I do the final shaping here. I've got it more or less sitting into the frame here, but now I've got to do some sculptural work, and this is where things always get a little bit difficult, because the first part is basically I knew what I needed to fit in, and it was a bit of a luxury. I've never had this before, where working with a heavy frame here, I was able to clamp my piece of sheet in there and pound into it, and I didn't have to worry about distorting that. When you're working with armor and everything is 18 gauge or 16 gauge, you don't have that luxury. So this was kind of cool that I was able to get in there, speeded things up a little bit to get the rough shape in place, but now I've got to pull it out and do some actual sculpting and fit it to the face. Fitting it to my face, not Leonardo's, and I don't know what my actual client looks like. Leonardo has that chubby little cherub face. I have a very lean face, so I'm going to go somewhere in the middle there and hope that my client has that. But it's not going to fit totally to the face, but it should have a pretty form-fitting effect, and that I think really kind of sells the whole thing when your face is touching at multiple points in here. So what I need to do now is just basically look at points that need to come out, and I need to define and refine things like the cheeks and under the mouth here, the chin obviously. So I just need to do some shaping on that and then fit it back into the frame there, and hopefully then we will be good to go on the next steps. So I'm in the thick of it right now. I'm just going to template up a piece for the nose. Something like that. All right, transfer that to a little scrap of steel here. And I'll just cut that out and shape that, and I will see you in a little bit. Okay, we are in the home stretch now, so we've got the face together here, and we've welded the 3 panels together. Got the nose welded on there, everything is ground. I've filed out roughly to make my features here. And now I'm going to put it in the fire. You can see on the inside there how it goes together there. So I'm just going to heat this up and give it all the forged color, scaled everything up, and then fit it into our frame here. It just needs a little more working on that. So we're going to go into the forge, get it hot. Okay, the piece is still hot here, and I've got it over the ball and just tapping it into place, trying to get it to fit a little bit. Okay, something like that. Still too hot to touch here, but I think I can just kind of position it in the frame there. You can see it is sitting in there. Something like that. So my assistant Fish, who you have not met yet, is behind the scenes just finishing off the back part there. So once we have that all finished, we can fit the pieces together and do the final fine tuning on that. See you soon. Here we are, moment of truth. Let's see if this all fits together now. Got all the components, snug fit. Okay, I'm gonna get my assistant to come in here and help me. There, and there we have it. That is actually quite restrictive. Okay, it's reasonably comfortable. It's very heavy. I think it would need to be patted slightly off the back of the head to get it to fit there, but my face is right out here. You can see my tongue can come right out there. I'm pretty much in position, so I think all in all worked out very good. We're probably going to just keep the fresh from the forge finish like this, and we'll just let the customer let it age up the way he wants, and then he could just freeze it into whatever finish suits him. But I believe that this thing worked out pretty good. So I've got my Leonardo DiCaprio version of Man the Iron Mask. So I'm king of the world! It's the only line from him that I know. Sorry. Anyway, please subscribe. Join us the next time. Thank you. See ya! Come on, baby. Oh my God.
Warm?
Ah.